Welcome back to First Take. Joel Embiid returned to the Sixers for Game 4 after an emergency appendectomy less than 3 weeks ago. Embiid did have 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 dimes, but the Sixers did not have much to show for it. They totally got blown out by the Celtics, 128-96. Tyrese Maxey only took 3 shots in the first half. And if the Sixers lose one more game, their season is over. So now the question is it time for the process to come to an end and possibly for Philadelphia to move on from Embiid? What do you think, Stephen A?
Big Perk has mentioned this on numerous occasions about potentially moving on from Embiid. The reason I'm averse to it, I don't agree with it, is because I don't think you can get anything for him because he is always injured. And nobody's going to give up any real assets for him. On one leg, I watched this brother average 35 in a playoff series against the Knicks a couple of years ago. I think that Embiid, if healthy, is one of the greatest big men to have ever played basketball. Unfortunately, he's never healthy. He came into the league missing the first 2 years of his career due to injuries, literally the first 2 years of his career. Mm-hmm. But believe it or not, I don't find him to be the biggest problem. They should have never brought Paul George in. You didn't need him. Paul George, one of the best people I know. I wish he had stayed in Los Angeles and signed his 3-year deal. I can't knock him for the 4 years, $212 million that he signed for. Good dude, damn good player, all-star caliber player when healthy, no doubt about it. One of the best people I know. But you didn't need him if you were Philly, which gets us to Daryl Morey. I think the time has come for him. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be an executive in this league or whatever, but he ain't built for Philly. Too analytical. Philly don't give a damn about that. That's a blue-collar city. They don't care about MIT. They don't care about data analytics. They don't want somebody there that's going to tell you things are better than you think because the numbers say that. This is Philadelphia. They could give 2 frog fat behinds about that. They don't care, okay? They care about that. That's blue-collar city. This is Philadelphia. You talk to somebody that worked there for 17 years and was a columnist for the last 7 years of my career there. I know Philadelphia. That's second home to me. I'm telling you, I ain't asking you. They don't give a damn about that. And they need a leader that is about basketball, that when he speaks with authority. When he opens his mouth, you listen because you know he has the credentials and he ain't relying on just analytics. He's relying on what the hell those 2 eyes of his see. Now, I know he's going to be mad about me saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Months ago, the former 4-time champion executive that worked with me and Big Perk the last couple of years doing NBA Countdown, named Bob Myers, all right, was elevated within the Sixers organization. Let's stop playing damn games. Philadelphia needs that man running that damn basketball franchise. Daryl Morey needs to go someplace else, and where that analytics stuff is going to be sold, and it's all right, because they ain't buying it in Philly. They're just not. That's just the truth, all right? You bring Paul George there, that ain't working. VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey are the future of this franchise. We're praying that Joel Embiid is healthy enough every April. That's what it comes down to. Philadelphia got romped yesterday because they're an inferior team, and if they ain't careful and they don't get their act together, Tyrese Maxey's going to want up out of there. Because why, as great as he is, sit around and be subjected to this? He's not going to put up with it, I'm telling y'all.
No, I agree 1,000%. It's time for a change, and it's time to move some furniture in that front office as far as Daryl Morey. And I'm with you, S.A. You can't move Embiid at this point because he doesn't have any value. But when you think about Philly, just over the last 3 years, the only thing that's been coming out of that from that organization is drama. Whether it's been the James Harden breakup and him being traded away, or Joel Embiid, being rushed back or should have had some type of structure in place, or whatever the case may be, it's been nothing but drama and not enough winning in the postseason when it matters the most. And here's the problem. I don't believe it's going to be easy to trade Paul George. Nobody's going to want to take that money on for PG, not the way that he's been playing. So now you're stuck with it. The biggest thing for Philly this offseason is that they got to start establishing some type of foundation and some type of culture over there. And I'm with you. If they don't, you don't want to be on the verge of having to lose a bright young superstar on the rise in Tyrese Maxey, so they got to get their stuff together.
And let's call it, and let's keep it a buck, Perk. The only reason Paul George is there, and again, we're not saying that Paul George don't deserve to be in this league and he ain't an all-star caliber player when healthy. We love Paul George. But the point is, the only reason he in Philly was because Daryl Morey was trying to save his own ass, because he knew he needed to do something, because he was getting some heat because of the way the Sixers were looking. That's all. He did it to save himself. I'm sorry, Daryl Morey. I got respect for you and love for you, but damn it, it's the truth. He's not the right man for Philly. He could be an executive other places, but that data analytics and MIT stuff, that ain't flying in Philly. They don't care. And the bottom line is, he did the Paul George thing because of himself, not because it was better for the Philadelphia 76ers. And now it's coming back to haunt them, because that's $212 million you could have utilized elsewhere, and Paul George could have stayed in L.A.
Some people might be seeing this like, hey, the series isn't even over yet, but the unfortunate matter of
It's
it
over.
is the 76ers have lost all, I believe it's 18, 18 best of 7 series when trailing 3-1. It feels very much like it is over there in Philadelphia. Coming up here on
Embiid return.
Yeah, they handled it terribly. I mean, it was the worst thing you could do. Now, in this league, you want to celebrate players who want to play and be available for their team. So there's nothing about Embiid and how he shouldn't play. If he's healthy enough to play, of course he should. But does he have to start? Does he have to take all the shots? Did he have to have the second highest usage rate in a game in the playoffs this season? More than Shea, more than Brunson, more than Cade Cunningham? How is that when you haven't played in 2 weeks? Come off the bench, be available, and how about get a rebound, which your team couldn't do in that first half? None of this made sense. And Joe Mazzulla, twisting his mustache like he does, saw him and goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put him in defensive action. Every single possession they had. Come here, bring him over here, and let's get him to switch. Because you know what he doesn't know? He doesn't know the defensive rotations. He had no idea where he was going. This didn't make sense. This hurt the Sixers. Obviously, the intent was for him to play to help them, but this did not work because you empowered him too much. You catered to him too much when the franchise player is Maxey, and he should have been the guy that you focused on, not Embiid. Come off the bench, help the team that way. Do not start and dominate the game. Made no sense.
Okay, well, listen, I love the passion, and candidly, I can't disagree with the word you just said. And Sharpe seems to love it up early out there in L.A. But Sharpe, look, you played 200 games in your life with LeBron James. You played with major stars. Joel Embiid is a superstar in this league. So take me through that. He says, I want to come back and play. He wants to go back and be Joel Embiid. How does a team handle that circumstance? Because to Alan's point, it seemed to the eye test as though they'd have been better off minimizing him, at least at some point in that game. But he's out there. How do you handle a situation like that?
Well, as a player, you definitely want to be able to have the conversation to have with Embiid to take accountability for not knowing the game plan or not knowing the rotations, not having as much pop in his step. But you also, as the other guys on the team, have to understand we're going to hide him this game. We're going to have to be maniacs defensively to hide him this game because he has sat out 2 weeks with the appendix problem. We have seen Joel Embiid come and help this team. We've seen them at their highest, usually led by Joel Embiid. Don't get me wrong, Maxey and BJ Edgecombe have done an unbelievable job being their backcourt. But for us to look at Philly seriously, we all knew Joel Embiid had to play well. It's just tough coming back after sitting out for 2 weeks, coming back against a Boston Celtics team that plays 9-10 guys, going to get it off to the races and play by 3.
Monica, help me with it here, because I don't disagree with a word Alan said, and yet there is a part of me that understands that this is kind of a complicated area when a player of his stature comes back and says, oh, I'm back to save the day. And now you want to say to him, listen, big fella, we're actually better off if we don't do that. How do you think they handled it, and how should they have handled it?
Maybe I'm the only woman in this, or maybe I'm being a little bit naive. You tell him he can't start, or you pull him so that you can have a spurt where your guys that have been hooping have an opportunity to play fast. Like, I actually think we're making this complicated. Yes, Joel Embiid was the process, was the franchise, but we got to deal in the here and now. Boston got 7 more shot attempts up than the Sixers, and that is partly because the game was playing too slow. If this was not a playoff return in this moment, all coaches make game plans based on what is needed in said matchup. So I actually think he probably should have sat a little bit more to try to let those guys play a little bit faster. But I also think this, Greeny, this wasn't ever really a game. Like, the Celtics jumped out, and maybe they were just letting him, I don't know, get lathered up in the potential hopes of trying to get the next game. But I don't think this is that big of a deal. I think this is why you have a coaching staff to evaluate what works best in a matchup.
All right, I want to get to a couple other NBA notes while I have you here. It was a fascinating one last night. Oh, by the way, they have 3 more years left with Joel Embiid going forward.
Let's play.